Everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Bill Talks Cruising, a new podcast where I talk with other cruisers about, cruising. Today I'm excited to talk cruising with Walter Biscardi from Where's Walter Travel. Walter has been cruising for over 20 years. He is the founder of Where's Walter, an online travel blog that he started 6 years ago. In October of last year, he successfully launched an independent travel agency named Where's Walter Travel, at his audience's request. He has also spent 30 plus years in the film, television, and marketing industries, owning 2 creative agencies with credits that include multiple Emmy and Peabody Awards. He's taken everything he knows from his first career and applied it to his new one with great success. Welcome to the podcast, Walter.
Well, thank you, Bill. I sound amazing in that intro. Holy cow. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you so much for coming on and being the first guest.
Oh, my pleasure. Wow, I'm truly honored. I'm the first guest. I love this. Thank you, Bill.
All right. So let's kind of start off easy here. Can you start by introducing yourself and sharing a little bit about your background more and how you got into cruising?
Sure. Hey, well, I am Walter Biscardi. I'm originally from New York, upstate Hudson Valley area, and actually got into film and television right out of college. That's actually what I went to school for. So I've spent about 30 plus years in broadcast, film, documentary filmmaking. Most people know me if you ever watched that show called Good Eats with Alton Brown on the Food Network. I was on that show for 4 years. And almost 20 years ago, my wife dragged me onto my first cruise. I did not want to go on my first cruise at all. It was our 10th wedding anniversary. I was kind of excited when we booked it, but then as we kind of got closer, I said to her, I'm like, and not only was it our first cruise, it was a 14-day back-to-back on the Caribbean Princess, East-West Caribbean. So, yeah, we just dove in head first, right? 14 days on our first one. And my wife finally said, well, I'm going. You can either go with me or you can stay home. So I went, and by the second or third day, we had already booked 1 or 2 more cruises. I was totally hooked. And that's how I got into cruising. And when my creative career kind of wound down, I was like, maybe I should get into travel agent thing because, I'd love to travel. We've been helping people for many years, go on their first cruises and things. So it was kind of a natural extension. And that's how Where's Walter Travel came about. I started doing TikToks on advice and tips. And within a few months, my audience was like, hey, I wish you were a real travel agent so we could book with you. And a few months later, there we are. So we're getting close to celebrating 1 year. Woohoo!
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I remember kind of watching. You were actually one of the first people I reached out to when I started, just because I loved all your content and stuff. And,
thank you.
Yeah, definitely. Your content's great. And you also kind of sounded. My dad just went to Hawaii for the first time, and he didn't want to go either. So you kind of sound like my dad. Like now, I think he's hooked on Hawaii. So.
Yeah, how can you not want to go to Hawaii? Holy cow.
I know, right?
That's amazing.
Yep. All right, so next question. So what is your most memorable cruise experience and why?
Oh, that is easy. That's so easy. Alaska. Oh, my goodness. So we did, and I want to say that was like 10 years ago or so, and I still remember every little thing about it. We did the big 14-day land-sea tour with Princess. So, we flew into Fairbanks. And the cool thing is, when you do it with Princess, you're basically on a cruise for the entire 14 days. So we fly into Fairbanks. Princess is right there at the baggage claim waiting to meet us. Take our bags. We go to the Princess Lodge in Fairbanks. We spend a couple days there doing things. Then we get on that amazing train ride from Fairbanks down to Denali National Park. We stay at their lodge for a couple of days. And then we go down to Copper River for a couple of days, again, staying at their lodge and having the best salmon to this day I've ever had in my life because it was caught right there in the Copper River. That's awesome. Then the 7 days on the ship. And not only was it memorable because it's Alaska, and Princess does it amazingly. It was also one of my dad's last trips. We had asked him if he wanted to go on a cruise with us, and he said, well, only if you're going to one place. And I said, we're going to Alaska. He goes, that's the place. And we had he met us on the ship, and we had an amazing 7 days. So Alaska is one of those things, you can take as many pictures as you want, but it does not convey what it's actually like. It is almost like a life-changing cruise. So that easily is the most memorable cruise that we've taken so far.
That's awesome. Yeah, Alaska is definitely high on my list of places I want to go to.
I could spend the whole hour just talking about that if you wanted to. Oh, so amazing.
Yep. Yeah. I'm probably gonna do one sooner rather than later.
Hey, Bill, I've got 3 quick tips for Alaska. Will you have time for me to give them?
Yeah, go for it.
So if you're going to Juneau, Harv and Marv whale watching, these guys are absolutely amazing. We went on them. We sent all of our clients really great whale watching. If you're going to go to Skagway, look up Temsco helicopters. Again, we have no affiliation with them. They're just amazing. You can take a helicopter to a dog sled camp and then take the dog sled. And then in Ketchikan, look up Island Air Wings or Island Wings Air and pilot Michelle. She's like the best bush pilot in that area, and you can take a float plane tour and do all of that stuff. So absolutely amazing.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I can't wait till I get to Alaska.
You got to go to Alaska.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody who's listening to this, if you're into cruising,
Yeah,
Alaska
definitely.
has to be one of those cruises.
Yeah. And one tip I always hear is you got to get a balcony when you go to Alaska.
A balcony is nice. Okay, you don't have to have it because obviously you can save money if you stay inside or on an ocean view because you do have the upper decks. You have the promenade that you can go view.
Yep.
But I will say we had one, and yes, I did enjoy it.
Yeah, those are some great tips. Thank you so much for that.
Awesome.
So, kind of relating to the last question, what is your favorite thing about cruise travel?
Wow. Cruise travel. I think the coolest thing is you unpack once and you get to go to visit many countries and many cities, depending on how long or short your cruise is. But, what got me, you remember at the top of the show, I said I didn't want to go on my first one, and I just thought it was going to be boring, it was going to be stupid. And what really hooked me, I think it was even that first night, it was when I realized when the ship went. Now, first of all, Sail Away was awesome, right? I loved being on the ship. But then it was that first night, as we were going to dinner, I realized, oh my God, we didn't have to get in a car to go to dinner. Oh my God, we didn't have to make reservations and figure out, well, how are we going to get to the restaurant? Then we got to come back. Do we want to do something after? Let's look up to see what's in the area. So we got to go drive. It was literally everything was right there. And I had been going to Las Vegas for a few years, as part of going to a convention. And it hit me. I'm like, this is kind of like going to a Las Vegas resort. Everything is right here. The shows are here. The pools are here. The food is here. And then my hotel's going to be in a different place tomorrow. And I got so excited with not having to get into a car or go do anything. And if I wanted that little extra drink at dinner, I could. As long as I can walk back to my cabin, I'm good. So it's the having everything right there, first of all. And then you're pretty much paying one price. Yes, you can add on a bunch of things, but you're pretty much paying one price. You can go on the cruise almost without spending another dime if you really don't want to. And you get to go off the ship and go explore different places. So I just love the convenience of it. And the relaxer, for me, it is relaxing, even though some ships have, 6,000 people on them, and you might be waiting in line and things like that. But it's so relaxing to not have to, we're got to leave the hotel today. We got to get in the car. We're going to go to this place, and we're going to go to that place, and we're going to go to that. It's like, no, it's like wherever the ship is taking us, we're going there. And if it's a sea day, we're just going to relax on the ship all day. So I just find it incredibly relaxing.
Same. And I 100% agree with you about the whole car thing. I hate driving. It's like I really do want to do road and stuff, but it's like the driving and all just holds me back. I don't like it at all. So
yeah, I mean, there's two different. It's like multiple ways to travel, and there's nothing wrong with I love going land trips too, but it is a completely different mindset when you're on a ship.
Yeah, it's the most. How do I want to phrase this? I'm most relaxed when on a cruise ship.
Yeah.
That's
it's my place now.
Yep.
And when I'm on land, it's not near as much fun as when I'm on a ship.
I agree. Yep. All right. So, kind of mentioned that you've been cruising for over 20 years. So how has cruising changed since you first started?
Well, obviously the pandemic had a huge change on everything. But, for one, the ships are getting bigger, for sure. I think the quality, in some ways, the quality of some things has gone down a little bit, but in other ways, the quality has gone up. I think the food and the gourmet quality has really started to step up. as there's more competition, as you get cruise lines like Virgin Voyages stepping in and saying, hey, we're going to give you all the meals for free, and by the way, we're going to make them good. That has kind of had a ripple effect down on your celebrities, your Princess, even Norwegian Royal Caribbean, and all those guys to kind of step up. Look at Carnival. Carnival finally admitted that, hey, yeah, maybe our main dining room hasn't been the most exciting. So you know what? We're going to roll out 60 new dishes with Emerald. And by all accounts that I'm seeing, people are loving what they're doing. So I think the lines are trying to figure out ways to make the value even more so. Now it's not just, oh, if there's just a crappy buffet and a crappy main dining room, that's okay because at least I'm on a ship. Now I think the cruisers are a little bit, I don't want to say more sophisticated, but they want a little bit more for their money. And we're getting a lot more people who are experiencing cruising for the first time, especially since the pandemic, because they're looking for better values for their vacation dollars. And they're starting to see that, hey, there is a good value here. Certainly the technology has gone through the roof. I mean, I absolutely love wearables now, say Virgin Voyages and Princess, that we don't need to carry a card around. I love that. And of course, with the staging, the shows, everything about the ships that they can do on the ships now, I mean, it's almost like better in some ways than what they can do in Las Vegas and even New York on Broadway, some of the stuff they're doing on the ships these days. You know, and then with the bad comes a lot of people who are new to cruising and don't really have the etiquette down. You know, there are some people who just come on and it's all about them. And it's like, look, you're on a ship with 3,000 other people, 4,000 other people, about you. It's about, you know, being courteous to other people. So I think that's the biggest thing that I really think people have to remember is that you're in a community for 3 days, 4 days, 7 days, whatever it is. We got to be respectful to everybody else. But I think for the most part, cruising has gotten better. The ships have gotten better. Ships have gotten more beautiful. And for me, I think the food and the coffee has definitely been and for me, definitely the food and the coffee has definitely gotten up there.
Yeah. I love how Virgin Voyage is kind of disrupting the cruise world. Just
everything.
Yeah, like
oh, I love it.
Not having to pay for like internet, not having to pay for soda, like all those things, like all the food's free, like just how they've come in and disrupted the whole thing is just
yeah. And I don't know why other cruise lines haven't this out. I mean, they could offer a version of that by just saying, hey, you can have cruise fare only, or you can have this. Literally, here's everything that Virgin offers in one package. I don't really understand that. But I love Virgin. Virgin does a lot of good things. There are some things that really annoy me, like the pool is way too small. I don't know why the pool is that small. But, you know, overall, the cruise lines have to take notice. A little known fact, the Norwegian Prima was originally supposed to be a competitor to Virgin Voyages. It was supposed to be an all-adult haven ship. And then once the pandemic happened, they kind of altered it. So the rest of the cruise world is taking notice of Virgin Voyages. Even though they have only got 3 ships now, soon to have 4, the rest of the cruise world is starting to notice.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what they're all about. Like at the time of this recording, I'm going on the Scarlet Lady first time in a couple. In a couple weeks.
I can't wait.
Yeah,
I can't wait to review.
Yeah, so really looking forward to experiencing them, and I love what they're doing. So.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you're gonna have so much fun.
Yeah. So cool. All right. So, if money were no object, what cruise would you go on?
Wow. Okay, so the obvious answer is, well, I'll take an around the world cruise for 200 days, right? I'll go on Regent Seven Seas and stay on the ship for a half a year. That's an easy one because Regent Seven Seas is like top of the top of the top. But honestly, if money were no object, the one that I really had my eye on is Hurtigruten. Hurtigruten is a expedition company, and they have a pole to pole expedition. I want to say it's like 60 days, something like that. That looks spectacular. Now, these are very, very small ships. You don't tie up at the dock. You get in the little Zodiac boats, like with 10 other people, and you ride the Zodiac, and you crash it into the shore, and then you hop out of it. That's how it all worked. But going from the North Pole all the way down to the South Pole would be cool. An amazing journey. That'd
be
if money
neat.
were no object, that'd be the one.
Yeah, that'd be cool to do. I definitely like doing... like I don't mind going to the beach, but I like doing different. Like I don't mind going to the islands, but I do like doing some different things like that.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Yeah.
All right. So.
Well, hey, wait a minute, Bill. What about you? If money were no object, what's going to be your cruise? It's a hard decision, right?
Probably Hawaii.
Oh, good
I know.
choice.
I just said islands aren't really my thing, but I just something about Hawaii. It'd be kind of cool to do one of those cruises. Like I know they have like where they go to both Hawaii and Alaska.
Yes. Norwegian has one. They also have where you can go on down to the South Pacific and do Tahiti.
Yep. So those would be cool.
More islands.
So I like doing a lot. So I like historicals, like
Oh, nice.
stuff like shore excursions or like just walking around or getting on a bus and learning about the history, those sort of things.
I love it.
So,
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. Good answer.
Yep. All right. So earlier in the episode, we mentioned that you started your own travel agency last year. Can you kind of talk about how that started?
Oh, man. Well, it was a very interesting situation. I was just doing a bunch because I was done with my video career, and I was, well, I don't really know what I'm going to do next. And we were kind of coming out of the pandemic. There was so much bad information about cruising, and like how bad the ships are going to be, and you're going to die, and you're going to get sick and all. And so I just started doing quick tips that I felt were just honest information about cruising, so people could make an informed decision as to whether they actually wanted to go on a ship, and kind of push back at like all this ridiculous nonsense that was out there. And it struck a chord apparently with a lot of people. And folks started asking me if I would consider becoming a travel agent so I could actually book, because they felt comfortable, having me, book their trips and whatnot. So around that time, I actually got recruited by somebody who worked for a host agency and asked me if I'd like to become a travel agent. So that's one of the interesting things here in the United States. We have what's called host agencies. And so I guess the easiest way to describe it is a franchise. Everybody knows McDonald's is a big corporation, and then independent people own the franchises in all the cities. It's kind of the same way with a host agency, where I own Where's Walter Travel. That is my travel agency. But we work under the umbrella of KHM Travel Group, which is out of Brunswick, Ohio. And what that did, by doing that, I got immediate access to all of the travel partners. So I have a contact immediately at Royal Caribbean and Virgin Voyages and Norwegian Cruise Line and Talk and all the river cruise lines. And that gives me where I can booking immediately, pretty much anything. And plus I have access now to all the education from all of these travel partners. And that's the most important thing, is that training. We get trained by every single travel partner. I've got to go through all of their processes and everything. Plus, we have the Cruise Line International Association, CLIA, that we get training from them. So we get certified as a travel advisor. So it just kind of naturally fit, believe it or not. I took the same processes. I'm even using some of the same management software that I use in my creative agency business. Because in the creative world, you started with a concept, then you had development, then you had pre-production, then you have production, post-production, delivery, and then finally the next airs it. And pretty much it's like a big Kanban board going left to right. Well, that's exactly what we do now with the travel agency. We have prospect to, proposal sent, to deposit made, to final payment made, to travel, to, follow up with them after the travel. And it kind of continues to go left to right. And it's just so exciting for me. The big difference between creative and doing this is that, I might work on a project for I would do a documentary for 4 years. And so it would take 4 years to get to the payoff.
Wow.
To finally get it in front of an audience. Whereas now it might be one phone call. It might be, a week later, but I'm having an immediate impact on people. I take it very seriously because look, you're trusting your vacation with me. And here in America, people might only get 1, 2, maybe 4 weeks off in a year. And now you're saying, hey, Walt, I trust you to book my vacation and make sure that it's good. And that's a lot of responsibility that I don't want to mess up. Yep. And, sometimes it terrifies me. And I'm like, I use that fear to say, I don't want to mess this person's vacation up. I want to make sure they get the best vacation possible. And so I brought all that 30 years of managing. I mean, I used to manage up to 200 people, 300 people across multiple continents.
Wow.
You know, documentary projects, television projects. So managing big projects and managing a lot of bookings at any one time is pretty easy for me. It just kind of comes natural because we just, you know, we have those processes. It's so exciting. And I think the best part is I get to work literally alongside my wife, Rebecca, now. She's literally right alongside me. So she does a lot of the research. You know, when a client calls in and says they want to go to XYZ, she'll start doing some of the initial research on the ships and the locations and all of that. And it's been a blessing. Exceeded anything that I ever imagined. I set some sales goals for us, some ridiculous sales goals for us by the end of 2023, and we hit them in the beginning of August, which was amazing.
Yep.
So we're having fun, and I really appreciate this. People trust. They seem to like what we're doing. They trust us. And where I know that we're really starting to do good, I mean, obviously we get a lot of referrals in from TikTok and YouTube and all the other social channels, but now we're starting to get those direct referrals. And that's when you know you're doing something good. You know, like Bill, if you say, hey, Walt, this guy, you need to go have him book, well, then, you know, you're trusting that I'm going to take care of your friends. So,
yep.
So it's been amazing. It's been absolutely an amazing ride.
That's awesome. So, like, being a travel agent, do you only focus in, like, one area, like cruising, or do you do other things like land travel and different things like that?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So, obviously, a major focus is cruise. We do, you know, cruise, luxury cruising, river cruising, expedition, world cruise, all of that. So, you know, when you've been cruising for almost 20 years, you kind of fall naturally into that. And we have so far cruised on 9 different cruise lines. We're about to cruise on our 10th different cruise line in December of 23. So we know a lot of these cruise lines. So it makes it very easy to just naturally dive in. But we do also offer full-on land tours and expeditions. We have booked clients. In fact, I've got a client as we speak right now. They just finished 8 days in Europe on a land tour, and they just got onto the Celebrity Reflection today. So we put together a custom land tour for them. And now they're on the Celebrity Reflection for 10 more days. Ultimately, 22 days in Europe, and everything was planned for them from Wheels Up to Wheels Down in Las Vegas.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, and then we even do the theme parks, too. We've got some folks going to Universal and Walt Disney World. So yeah, cruise is probably 90% of our work right now, and the other 10% is other. But, yeah, we can handle pretty much everything.
Great. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So why should somebody use a travel agent versus booking a cruise or any other type of travel by themselves?
Great question. So I will say that, you know, we've been cruising almost 20 years. We used a travel agent for every single cruise from the first one until we became travel agents. And the biggest reason was I always felt like, you know, even though we knew a lot by the time we were, you know, 20 years in, almost 20 years in, obviously we knew about cruising, but they had the inside track. You know, they knew things that we didn't know. And they have a direct connection with the travel partners. And we really saw that, like, when the pandemic broke out. Thankfully, we had used travel agents for, I think we had 3 or 4 cruises that were outstanding at that time. We never had to call the cruise lines one time to deal with any of that mess. And having things like we had cruises that were rebooked 4 times. Our travel agent did all of that for us. And that's when I really saw the value of the travel agents. Like, oh, man, when things go wrong, I don't have to be on the phone.
Yep.
Spending hours upon hours on the phone. So that's a big reason to use it, you know, when things go wrong. But I think the biggest reason to use a travel agent is, one, we are independent and we work for you. And, like, I don't charge anything for my services whatsoever. I get paid a commission on the back end. There are some agents out there who are starting to do that. You know, I want a research fee, or I want, you know, an upfront fee or something like that. We don't. And when you do it all yourself, well, then you're relying on your own knowledge, and you may have a lot of knowledge, but why not take advantage of somebody who has inside knowledge and has direct connection? It's like, I don't have to call a 1-800 number at Princess. I call Brett. I don't have to call Sailor Services at Virgin Voyages. I can call Tamika. I got a guy, like they say, I got a guy on the inside.
Yep.
So I have these direct connections, and I may know things that you don't know, or even if you're going to pay exactly the same rate that you might get online, I'll go ahead and manage that booking. And then if some things need to be taken care of that you can't seem to figure out, or You don't want to spend time dealing with it? I deal with it. I take care of it. I think that's the best thing about it. And then every so often I can get some deals or I can get some specials. Like we're putting together a group cruise right now that's not even going to go till 2025, but part of the package that we're putting together is prepaid gratuities and an upgraded drink package that you can't get by just going to the cruise line.
Yeah.
So yeah, especially, and when you develop that relationship with that partner, like we start to know, like we've got some clients. We've only been around, as of this recording, almost 1 year, and I've already got clients that have booked 5, 6, 7 times with us already. And as we get to know them, like all they have to do is just say, hey, Walt, I want to go to Europe in June, and we know already, okay, they want to go on Celebrity, they're going to want to have an Aqua Class suite, they're going to want this. Like they don't have to tell us anything. We just go and do it. And then one question that a lot of people ask me, why should we go with you and not the personal vacation planners that I can get in the individual cruise lines? Well, the number one answer to that is their only job is to get you to book that cruise line. You can't ask them a question. Well, what about this one? Well, what about that one? They can't talk about that. Whereas me I'm happy to book you on any cruise line that you want to go on. I just want to make sure you get the best vacation. And that's the big difference between an independent travel advisor and one of those personal vacation planners. A lot of those personal vacation planners are great. They're wonderful people. They do get to know you, but their job is to make sure you do not go away from that cruise line. Whatever that cruise line is you talk to, even if another ship is better, even if another itinerary is better, you got to go on their ship because it's their cruise line.
Yeah. My last couple of cruises I've used travel agents, and I'll never go back.
Awesome. Yeah. It's awesome.
And most recently,
Thank you.
For your book your group cruise next year.
Yeah, that's right, Bill. You are coming on the Sun Princess. I'm so excited.
Yep. So can't wait.
So excited.
Brand new ship. We finally get to cruise with each other. So it should be a good time.
Oh, I'm so excited, man. I tell you what, and whenever you folks are listening to this, it's October 2024. We're all going on the Sun Princess together. Brand spanking new ship. And I think one of the most fun things about it is we've got people booked in so many different cabins that we're going to do a cabin crawl. And if you don't know what a cabin crawl, those are fun. You get people who are staying in different types of cabins, and it's almost like a bar crawl. We just go from cabin to cabin to go see what they all look like. And, oh, my God, Bill, the Sun Princess, holy crap, I can't wait to meet this ship.
I can't wait. It'll actually be my first time on Princess.
Oh, cool.
Yep. Yeah. So
you're going to love Princess.
Yeah, so the next year I'm going on Virgin Voyages and Princess for the first time. So
Rock on.
Yeah. So
Rock
catching
on.
up to you as far as different cruise lines.
And if I could interject here, there's some people I know out there who they're loyal to Royal. They got to go on the Whale Tail. They're really loyal to these cruise lines. And I get that maybe you want to move up and you want to get those loyalty points. But I think, variety is the spice of life. And I encourage everybody listening to this, go explore as many cruise lines as you can. In almost 20 years, we've been on almost 10 cruise lines. I'm hoping by next year we'll be on 12 different cruise lines. All the cruise lines are amazing. All of the cruise lines are annoying. So you're going to find things that you love about everybody. But when you just keep sticking to that one, you really don't know what else is out there. So I just like what you're starting to do, I encourage everybody, go out and start exploring some other cruise lines.
Yeah, so I've been on 4 different cruise lines now.
Rock on.
And everyone's different. Everyone has their own vibe, and you kind of start to learn that as the more you travel on different cruise lines. I like how
it's nice to have something different.
I like how Norwegian is more tailored for solo travelers. Has more things to do for solo travelers, and different things like that. And the only way you're really going to find out about that is just by trying different ones. So.
You just got to go and try them out, and you see, and you're going to, like I said, you're going to love things about all of them. You're going to hate things about all of them. That's just the way it is. There's no perfect cruise line out there. I haven't found one yet, but it's just nice because there are so many. At the time of this recording, I want to say there's 350 cruise ships out there. I would love to try to hit all of them at some. Oh, and there's another 72 under construction or planned to be under construction in the next 5 or 6 years. So folks, get out there, explore. There's a lot of ships to see.
Yep. I think definitely things are looking up for the cruise industry as far as new ships and different things like that. So,
absolutely.
All right. So, where can people find you on the internet?
Oh, man. Well, where's WalterTravel.com? That's the main website. If you want to reach out, I have a great little online calendar. We set that up. You know, it's funny when you try to contact people, they an email back, and then you just kind of like keep trying to catch up with each other to set up a time to talk. So we have a real simple online calendar on where'swaltertravel.com. Just click in there, set up a time to meet us. We're on TikTok, YouTube, Twitter. We have a private Facebook group and a Facebook page. We're on Instagram. We're on Threads. Pretty much Where's Walter Travel on all of those. A few of them were still Where's Walter TV because that's from my old original vlog series. But yeah, just reach out at Where's Walter Travel. We'd be glad to help.
And definitely check out his weekly live shows.
Oh, yeah.
They're great.
Thank you.
Yep.
Every Sunday morning at 10:30 Eastern Time, we try to do TikTok and YouTube. And most Thursday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, we're on YouTube.
Yeah, so definitely.
Thank you, Bill.
No problem. Definitely check those out. All right. So let's kind of get into some more kind of like cruise tips.
Oh, yeah, sure.
So what advice would you have for someone on their first cruise?
Well, the first most obvious one is to get a travel advisor. And I don't just say that because I am. The hardest thing to do when you're looking at cruise is to compare apples to apples. And the cruise lines do that on purpose. You know, every cruise line has a different package. They have different inclusions. They have different ways of wording things that you don't realize that they're both talking about the same thing, but it's completely different. And the cruise lines do a great job of showing you all the really cool things that are available on their ship, but they don't necessarily tell you which ships have these things. And I've literally gotten emails from people who said, hey, I just went on the Norwegian Pearl and they didn't have any of the big water slides and all of this, and the laser tag wasn't there. Like, no, it's not on the Norwegian Pearl. It's on the Bliss and the Encore and all these other ships, but they didn't know. They just, because they clicked on activities and it just went, hey, all these things are available. So the most important thing about going on your very first cruise is not the cruise line at all. It's going on the right ship. And if you go on the right ship that meets with your expectations of what you want, then you're going to have the best chance of, A, enjoying the vacation, but B, giving yourself the best chance to really see what cruising is all about. So you've got to pick the right ship. And knowing that the time of year that you want to sail and where you want to sail from is a huge factor because there's only so many ships at each port at any time of the year. So again, you need to know, well, which ship am I looking at, and will this ship as good as the other one that I'd really like to go on? But that's where a travel advisor really comes in. And I really strongly encourage everybody, don't do the 3-day for your first cruise because those tend to be a party cruise. I call those a Las Vegas weekend. Doesn't matter if it's Carnival, Royal Caribbean, Norwegian, Celebrity, doesn't really matter who it is because I'm only on the ship for 3 days. You got a whole subset of people. I'm only on the ship for 3 days. I'm going to get the most I can. I'm going to drink the most I can. I'm going to party the most I can because I've only got 3 nights on this ship. That does not give you a good representation of what cruising is all about. If you go on a 7-night, go on there for a week, it's a totally different crowd. People know that, hey, I'm on here for a whole week. I don't need to party hard every single night. I can relax. That gives you, I think, a more clear representation of what cruising is all about. And so if you're going to cruise for 7 nights, you darn well better get on the right ship. So understand that all the ships are different. Understand that there's only a certain ship that you can sail on at any time of year at any given port. And definitely work with a travel advisor who can help make sure that you fully understand what is and is not included when you step on that ship so that you don't have any surprises.
You know, that kind of reminds me about a story on the Norwegian Sky. I was on there a couple weeks ago, and I came across this one guy twice, and I overheard him talking like he's complaining about the size of the ship, like both times. And
Sky's a small ship. I mean, it's pretty obvious. It's a small ship.
Yep.
What was he expecting?
I know, right? Like I've heard people was like, "This is a small ship. They should get rid of it." Blah blah blah. But it's like, small ships, like if you're looking at unique places, like the smaller ships will be able to get there where the larger ships can't. Like Baltimore, like certain size ships can only go into the port there.
Sure. And a smaller ship is generally quiet. I mean, there's a whole audience. We're about to go. So our smallest until now was the Island Princess when we went through the Panama Canal, and I want to say it's right around 2,000 people, maybe a little shy of 2,000. We're about to go on the Oceana Serena for Christmas and New Year's. That is 670 people.
Wow.
I wonder what he would think of that ship.
Yeah, I know, right? Yep. All
So,
right.
yeah.
Yep.
Obviously, he did not use a travel advisor and did not understand he was getting himself into.
Yeah. Yep. So that's why another reason,
Yeah.
use a travel agent, everybody.
Use a travel agent. And that's a great little ship, by the way. The Norwegian Sky is a great
I
little
love
ship.
that ship. One of my favorites, actually. So.
Yeah. There's something about the small ships, right? I mean, it takes you like 1 minute to get from one side to the other. And that's kind of something nice to be said about that.
Yep.
And the crew, I think the crew gets to know you a little better because there's not 5,000 of us.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, definitely had a really
Yeah.
good experience on that ship.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. I'm glad you had a good time.
All right. So, what kind of tips do you have for someone deciding on what cruise cabin to pick?
Oh man, I'll tell you what. So your 4 basic categories for those of you who maybe have never been on a cruise. So you've got your inside, your ocean view, which is a window looking outside. Of course, you got your balcony, and then you've got suites. And cruise lines can have up to 30 variations of those things on any given ship. And that's another great reason to use a travel advisor, by the way, to navigate the maze. Why are there 12 different balcony categories on here? Well, because. So, for your first cruise, we always recommend, being in the middle of the ship and down lower. And that's because of the movement of the ship. You have to remember that you're on a moving vessel, you're out on the water, and the cruise line has absolutely no control over what that water or the weather is going to do. So ships will move, ships will rock. And especially the older ones, like the smaller one, like the Sky that you just mentioned, that's going to rock a little bit more than, say, an Oasis of the Seas, because she's got modern stabilization and things like that. So when choosing your cabin, if it's one of your first cruises, you should stay in the middle of the ship and lower, because that's where you're going to get the least movement until you know whether or not you can handle the movement. I like to stay high. I like to stay as high as possible because I like the view and I like a balcony. Now, if you're the kind of person that you're just going to dump your stuff and I'm going to spend the whole day running around the ship, an interior or an ocean view is probably going to do you just fine. You're not really going to take advantage of the balcony. Balconies are lovely. You can sit outside. And where I think balconies really come in great is when you're traveling with multiple people. You got multiple cabins. Because if you put those cabins adjoining, meaning that they're next to each other, you can ask the room steward to open up the divider on the balcony, and then you end up with a large balcony. We did that on the Mardi Gras recently, where we had 3 cabins. And when we opened it up, it was like having a front porch. I think I spent the most time on a balcony that I ever spent on the ship, because we were just kind of hanging out. So I think if you're the kind of person that I don't really care, I just need a room, and I'm just going to throw my gear down and go out and explore everything, then inside or ocean view are going to do you just fine. I like to at least have a window, but my favorite part of having a balcony, besides being able to step outside and get that fresh air, I really like first thing in the morning having my cup of coffee and just sitting out there, seeing what we're doing, whether we're coming into port or I'm staring at the ocean as it goes by, or sitting out at night at the end of the day and just staring up at the stars, because there's absolutely no light pollution, and the sky looks so different on the ocean. And of course, if you want to pamper yourself, well, there are all kinds of suites out there. You can get butlers, you can get 24-hour concierge. I had a bar on the Virgin Voyages Scarlet Lady in our cheeky corner suite. We had a balcony that was 500 square feet. I mean, my God, the balcony was bigger than most of our cabins. So when you get into the suites, then it's just about the amenities. You're going to get the big balcony. You're going to get all of these other things. But when comparing the price of things, most of my clients, obviously everybody's budget conscious today. Even if you're getting a $25,000 Regent Seven Seas cabin, you're still going to be budget conscious about it, and you want to make sure you're getting the most value. And when you go to select your cabin, what's the most important thing about this particular vacation? Is it just, I'm just going to get on a ship and get away, I don't care how I pay, or this is a special, trip, this is my anniversary, this is my birthday, this is something, or maybe we're going someplace that we've never been to before, or maybe we're going to Alaska and I really do want to just be able to sit and watch the Inside Passage go by like all day long from my own balcony. So I think when it comes to picking the type of stateroom that you're going to be in, just consider what the trip is and what you're trying to get out of this vacation. Because on this one, you might do an inside. On the next one, you might do a balcony. And then on the next one, it's like, you know what? We're getting the suite. We're going all the way. It's our 25th anniversary. We're getting the suite. We're going to have a butler. We're going to go all the way. So that's kind of my advice. Kind of match the type of cabin up with what kind of vacation you're having.
Yeah, so I tried. I was last year. I tried a balcony and not like it. Like
What
if I
was
stick
it
with-
about the balcony? No, that's okay. Just take a breath. Take a minute.
I didn't like how you couldn't get it dark. Throughout the day, no matter how hard I tried, there was always like light coming in, and that's kind of why I like having an interior room. Is just that darkness. Just being able to take that 1 hour, 2 hour power nap in the afternoon.
Yeah, that's a big reason why a lot of people love the interiors, because they can get it absolutely dark.
Yep. And it's just, I love taking an afternoon nap in an interior room on a cruise. It's great.
Afternoon naps on a cruise ship are the best naps you're ever going to get.
Yeah. All right. So, what is your biggest pet peeve when it comes to cruising?
The chair hogs. Without a doubt, the chair hogs. If you've never been on a cruise ship, these are the people. On the Sky Princess, it was hilarious. We were on the Sky Princess earlier this year, and there was a gentleman who came out. I'm going to say he was older than me, so I'm 57. Let's just say he was older than me, and he had the big old school headphones on, and he would literally like grab 7 lounge chairs and bring them all together and just hold them and sit there for hours. So basically, a chair hog is somebody who just comes out, they put some stuff down on a chair, and then they disappear for hours, never to take the chair. They are the scourge of every cruise line. But I will say, on Sky Princess, they actually started taking stuff off. If somebody came walking up and wanted a chair, the pool attendant would actually take it away. That's my biggest pet peeve. Number 2, not understanding how a buffet works. Don't put your hands in and grab food. Don't take the tongs and just stick them into the food. I really wish we did not have self-serve buffet on a cruise line. I wish they served. That's actually one of my favorite. I can't wait. We're going on Oceania soon. I said, they don't have a self-serve. They serve you.
That's great.
I like that.
Yep.
And I like the galley. So you've got the galley on Virgin Voyages, and you've got the Indulged Food Hall on Norwegian. Again, they serve you. So I would love to see the self-serve buffet just go away and have them serve us, because a lot of people just don't understand how that works. And the latest trend, and I don't know who thought this was a great idea, is people talking on their phones with the speakerphone loud.
Yep.
Oh my God. Why? I really don't want to hear, I literally just want to go sit next to these people and just start having a conversation with who's ever on the other end of the phone, because it's so freaking annoying. So those are my big 3.
Yep. I agree. And I'll add one more is getting on and off the elevators. People not waiting for people to get off, and then...
Oh my God, a door opens and they come rushing in. It's like, excuse me, I'm trying to get off. A big tip about the elevators, I try to find ships that have 3 banks of elevators, because that middle bank is always going to be jammed. The one up front is usually the quietest one, and then you can also go to the back. But yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. When those elevators doors open, please stay out of the way. Let us get off the elevator, and you can have it all to yourself.
Yep. Do you have any, I know you've kind of touched on this a little bit, as we kind of wind down, but do you have any interesting cruises coming up?
Yes. So I've mentioned the Oceania cruise a couple of times, and what's really interesting about this one, so it's a 12-night Southern Caribbean cruise out of Miami from December to January. So one, it's going to be our first time on a ship for Christmas and New Year's. We tried to do it once before the pandemic, but then it was in January 2020, so obviously that wasn't going to happen. And what's really interesting about this cruise and why I'm so excited, we're actually going to 4 Caribbean ports that we've never been to. We've been cruising almost 20 years, and we've pretty much hit all of the Caribbean, but we're going to Guadeloupe, Dominica. Man, now I'm blanking out. Let me think. Guadeloupe, Dominica, St. Bart's. What's the other one? Grenada. So. Yeah. Okay. Rebecca's right over there now. Just like my show. But what's really cool about this particular cruise, we're going to 4 ports that we've never been to in the Southern Caribbean, which is like unheard of, because we've been cruising the Caribbean almost 20 years. So we got Guadeloupe, St. Barth, Dominica, and Grenada. We've never been to those 4 ports. So really, really excited about that. And then what we're doing in 2025, we're doing, again, Oceania. We're going to do a 12-night cruise round trip from Seattle with 8 port stops over 12 nights. So I'm really excited about that one. That's actually going to be a group cruise coming up. And then beyond that, I'm ready to start booking like some river cruise. what my goal is, either it's going to happen in 2025 probably, but I want to take Cunard from New York over to Southampton. Then I'd like to take a river cruise in Europe. And then I'd like to take another ship back, whether it's Cunard back to New York or pick up one of the ships that's coming back to Florida. Because I really want to do that, travel the way my grandparents did and go across the pond both ways.
Yeah, that'd be cool to do. That's definitely on my bucket list.
Yeah.
So, awesome.
What about you? You got anything fun coming up?
Yeah, so I'm going on a group cruise at the end of this month.
Awesome.
It's going to be Halloween on the Carnival Celebration.
And you're going with somebody we both know, right?
I am. I'm going with Tony and Jenny from Lolita Loca.
Cruising. You're going to do some cruising with Tony. I love it. He's such an awesome dude.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely one of my favorite YouTubers.
And I'll tell you what, he's just one of the nicest humans you will ever meet. So good. I'm so excited you're going on that one.
Yeah, so really looking forward to meeting them. And then after that, so I'll be on the Carnival Celebration from the 29th through the 5th. And then I get off the Carnival Celebration and get on Virgin Voyage's Scarlet Lady.
Whoa!
For 5 days. So, yeah.
Nice.
So those are my...
Nice. And that, gentlemen, is called a side-by-side, where you come off of one ship, and so everybody back-to-back is when you stay on the same ship for 2 cruises, but a side-by-side is when you come off one ship and get onto another. So nicely done, my friend.
Yep, it worked out. Kind of worked out. Airfare was cheaper coming back on the 10th, so I figured, I might as well just squeeze in another cruise. Why not?
Might as well take another cruise, right?
Yep.
Now, that is great logic. I can fly back. It's going to cost me more, or it'll cost me less if I fly back on this day. So what am I going to do? I think I'll take another cruise.
Yep, so excited for that.
I love it.
And then I'm kind of taking a little bit of time off just to focus on some personal stuff. And then, right now, my only cruise next year is your group cruise. So,
I cannot wait. Sun Princess cannot get here soon enough.
I know, right?
Soon enough. Oh my goodness, I can't wait.
I got like the Princess Plus package. I want a little extra. It's probably going to be my only cruise next year. So, figured.
You know what? Why not? We're gonna have fun. I think everybody on our cruise we were thinking about doing like one of those cocktail parties or something, and I was like, everybody's got the package. That would be a waste. So let's do something else.
Yep. So,
yeah. Oh, that's going to be so much fun.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. And then I'm just probably going to do some going to visit different cities and things like that.
Oh, that's great.
Like short weekend trips. So.
That's great, man. Yep. What a great way to do it. Maybe one of these days we'll get you on American Cruise Line so you can go up and down some of the rivers. Everybody knows the Mississippi, but you got the Snake River, you got the Northeast, you got down here in Florida, and even Alaska. Up on they do Alaska as well.
Yep, and I think don't they do Canada, New England, or is that
they don't do Canada? No. They have a sister cruise line that does Canada.
Oh. Gotcha, yeah.
Yeah, but they do the New England thing, and then they have an excursion that'll take you over to Canada, but their ships do not actually go, they do not leave the United States. So, yeah, but they do have a sister line. I think Pearl something, maybe Pearl.
Yep. Thought so. I wasn't 100% sure.
Yeah. So many ships, little time.
Yep. So, goals to go on them all. So, we'll see that over. Yep. So, once again, Walter, where can people find you on the internet?
Well, people can find me at where'swaltertravel.com. That is the main website, and we have a whole contact page if you'd like to reach out. And we're also on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Threads, Instagram. Oh, and you can find me on LinkedIn, Walter Biscardi. You can find me on LinkedIn as well.
Great. And I'll definitely have all of the your links in the description.
Oh, thank you.
So people can easily access that. All right, that's going to be it for this episode of Bill Talks Cruising. Thank you so much for our very first guest, Walter, for joining.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yep, and we'll definitely have to get you back on after your Alaska cruise.
Yes.
We'll definitely get you back on.
Anytime, Bill.
Yep.
Anytime.
And thank you all for taking the time to watch the episode. If you don't mind hitting that subscribe and alert button, like button, to help the channel grow, I really appreciate it.
Mash that button. Mash that button.
Yep. And with that, thank you all so much for watching again. I really appreciate it, and hope you all enjoy the rest of your day.